running, growing, creating, while building, living, thinking, healing, loving, loving, building, writing, while black.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome back to Writing While Black. I am Ayoka B, your co-host, and Angela, our other co-host, is with us.
What up, though?
And today we are talking to author Charles Chatmon. Charles describes himself as an author, poet, and observer. He is a multi-genre author of 6 books, from mystery to sci-fi. His latest title, It's All About Fate, is a blend of crime, mystery, and adventure with a side of romance, and is available on Amazon. A 2-time stroke survivor, we are so glad to have him with us today. So welcome, Charles. Welcome. How are you
Thank
feeling
you.
today?
Thank you so much. Glad to be here.
Good, good. So did you want to add anything to your bio before we jump in?
I just want to add one more thing. That I'm the director of a writers group in my local library here in LA. It's the AC Bilbrew Writers Workshop.
Mm-hmm.
And that leads into one of the questions I had. So can you tell us exactly what you do there and what the group is about?
The Writers Workshop has been in existence, I think, since 2011. Not sure. I'm one of the authors, is a well-respected gentleman in entertainment. Has written books, lots of books, more than me. Odie Hawkins started the workshop. I started the workshop called the Workshop Lectures, actually workshops talking about how to get published, how to get started, and also finding alternatives for marketing, and started in 2005 with a writers group. But Odie took it over in 2011. He started the actual group, and I'm the third director in that group. It was another person, Pat Forte, who is a great woman, great author. So I took it over, and so far we've had 2 writers forums. We've had plenty of discussions, and we're planning more in the future. So that's my current job in the literary world so far.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us. So the first question I want to ask, because I see that it is a very prominent recurring theme, how does South Central factor into your writing?
I'm glad you asked that question. South LA is where I was born and raised, and I've known lots of people, met all types of people. My elders, in fact, I have 3 who live right close to me. They've all accomplished a lot in their lives, so they took me under the wing as a young man and showed me how to live the right way, along with my father, who's no longer with us. And I would just say that for myself, growing up in South LA, I've seen a lot. I've seen not really the violence, but I've seen how the violence affected people, affected all of us around. And not only that, just the people themselves, the ones I grew up with, the shop owners, the people that make a difference in the community. No one really knows about South LA, the people of South LA themselves, not just myself. So that's why I decided to center most of my stories in South LA. Since the early 2000s, I decided to just focus on its community and its people.
So, as a multi-genre writer, where does your inspiration come from? And what I mean by that is, what comes first? The genre? Do you decide what genre you want to write, or does the idea come first?
The idea comes first. If it's a great idea, I just come up with a concept of the great idea, what the idea should expand to. For say in a science fiction story, the conquest story, I just thought of what would it be like for an invading force to come and invade the Earth and find out that the Earth force, it actually isn't what you think it is. So I want to add little twists and turns in the story. In Relay, my novel, I wrote about the high school team who lost a good friend of theirs through gun violence, which made it South LA centric. But at the same time, how did they overcome those challenges as a team and adopting the new person to come in and fitting in with their squads. They try to reach for that championship they always wanted to get. So I try to write different stories about people and also get into the mind of people. I've heard a lot of great commentary. People have really encouraged my work by just the characters that I've written, the plots that I've shared, and I just want to try to find different concepts of different plots and hope that they work. And I try to go that way.
I kind of hesitated when I was asking the question because over here at Writing While Black, we shy away from the word genre a lot of times because we kind of just write. And a lot of times you get stuffed into a genre box, but I didn't know how else to really articulate that question. But thank you for answering it because I thought as much. I find that a lot of writers, the ideas, just come and they're driven by the idea and telling the story. Especially because of your current position, but in your longer bio, I read about some of the other spaces you've created for readers and authors. And I wanted you to talk a little bit about the importance of creating spaces for Black authors and readers.
Black authors have a long tradition of having their stories shared and written. One of my inspirations was Langston Hughes. He talked about the everyday common man. And Richard Wright, I really love Native Son because that's a novel that stuck with me. In fact, it's kind of a basis to some of the works that I've written. But I just feel that Black writers, especially those who are just now coming up in the writers' workshops, I will always see people that wanted to write, but they didn't know how to get published. They didn't know how to get started. And those individuals who have already published books when I was in charge of this book expo, they just wanted to have they just wanted to be shown. They just wanted to have the opportunity for their works to be out in the public. So we have a lot of talent in our community. But the thing is that we don't have the avenues like some of the bigger name authors have. So I always try to at least encourage them to keep writing and just keep promoting themselves by using this forum and other forums so that they can get the works out there because there's a lot of talent and the works need to be shown.
Right. I mean, that's a recurrent theme for us as a community, talent versus access. It's never about a lack of talent, no matter what industry we're talking about. I'm gonna hand it over to Angela and I'll circle back with the rest of my questions.
Thank you.
So, sort of continuing to build on this conversation about support for writers and support for readers as well, I'm curious about where you get your support from as a writer. Do you find that in the context of your writers group that you get a lot of support, or are there other places or no place where you get support?
I have support from my family, especially my wife, who's also an author herself. Uh, she wrote one book and is planning to write some more. Also, the community that I'm a part of, the writers group, that we all encourage each other. We're very close, so we all support each other's works. In fact, the group, before I joined, they wrote an anthology, and I don't know the name right now, but they wrote an anthology sharing their life stories, sharing their works. And unfortunately, we had one of our members pass away last year or this year, but her story is out there. So we're trying to encourage each other, the members who are still there. And I will say over the years, I've had teachers, I've had people who would love to read. I wrote an article for my college newspaper, and someone just said, "Good job, you did a great job." And I really feel good about the articles I've written, the stories and the novels and the poem, everything that I've written that people have encouraged me. So that helps to have that community. And also people off the street just say, "Hey, good job." So it really just makes me feel so much better to know that people are reading the work and people are encouraging me to keep going.
Yeah, I got you. So, when did you realize that you were a writer, or when did you become a writer? Is it something you've done all your life, or something that just happened when you were like 45?
No, I started way before 45. I always tell the story a lot that I started at the age of 12. Our PE class was rained out, so I took a paper and pen and just started writing. And then it grew. I changed schools, and I found two teachers who helped me with my writing, and they really were very encouraging. In fact, my ninth grade homeroom teacher had a husband who was a television writer. I mentioned to her that I wanted to write for television, and so her husband kind of discouraged me from that. But he just encouraged me to keep writing. She would take my works to other teachers, and they would correct my writing. The first time I've known about paragraphs and all that, but it really helped me become a better writer. And then in college, I had one professor who was a Shakespeare professor, and he was really encouraging me to write. In fact, I shared a short story with him. He said a good job, and that started my way. So over the years, I met lots of people who encouraged me to write, whether it be teachers, it'll be professors, it'll be other authors, even older authors who encourage me to keep writing. And it makes me feel so good to know that the work is out there and people are not only enjoying the work, but they're also encouraging me to keep writing. And I try to do the same for other people as well.
There are two questions that I have, and they're kind of connected. One is about your writing process. And as I said the last time we talked about it, it doesn't have to be like I write a half hour a week. It could be I just write when I feel like it, or, whatever your process is. How have you been able to produce the books that you produce? But the first question I wanted to ask is if you have a process for your growth and development as a writer. When we talked with, I think it was Michael Laron, the writing machine, he mentioned that he is on this Ray Bradbury plan to read essay a day, poem a day. I can't remember, but and he said that was specifically to help him to develop as a writer.
It was a
So I'm
lot.
curious if you have, yeah, he's kind of intense. I'm
Okay.
curious if you have anything in place consciously to help you to grow and develop as a writer.
It's it's kind of still it's I'm reason why I'm kind of fumbling on this question is because when I started writing, I would write maybe for 3 hours. I set a time limit to my writing. I would write for 3 hours. I would go to college libraries and get, this the old school before even laptops were around. Take my pen, my paper, and just started writing for that length of time. Sometimes I overdo it, write more than 3 hours, but I would write. And then in the opening, you mentioned I had two strokes, and so my brain was trying to recover itself. At the same time, during the pandemic, because that's when it happened before the pandemic, and then when the pandemic actually happened, I just sat down, had to go for myself to write a page a day, and that's worked so well for me because I produced 4 books because of that change and strategy of writing. So the next book I'm planning to write, which will be different, but I'm going to use the same strategy of writing a page a day because it helps. I don't put any pressure on myself, and I really just get to develop a story as I go along. And it helps a lot to get my brain functioning well. So that's my process, at least for the right now.
You mentioned writing a page a day, and I was curious, one other side of writing is reading. Are you a big reader? You mentioned earlier, not The Invisible Man, but Native Son. Do
Yeah.
you have any favorite books or books that you continuously reread, books that you're reading now? What's your reading habit like?
My reading habits, I try to read the classics. Since I had Shakespeare classes in college, I try to read little bit of that. Um, Try to read a little bit of the Black authors. So like go back to Langston Hughes had a novel, no, a book of all of his short stories, and they were very interesting short stories, but he's more famous for the poems. But I try to read as many authors as I can. Um, whether it's an author that you know or authors that you don't know. In fact, I have all these books that I've collected from my journey in North California, and they're quite interesting. Autobiographies, short stories, poems, a, a sample of all these different books. So I read them and try to use a style, I guess, in my writing, but at the same time, I also kind of see what works and what doesn't work. And I can say that my reading, because I have to get my brain to really get my brain going, that helps a lot, and it really helped a lot with my writing.
I have one more question. I'm going to turn it over to you because I know we have some classic questions, but what do you love most about writing, being a writer, and
Okay.
what is your greatest challenge as a writer?
I love to write. It's something, again, I started back at the age of 12, and growing up as an only child and not really having a whole lot of friends. I know, only child nation. So the thing is that I try to when I was writing, it made me feel so good because it was something that I loved to do, and it just carried over. It was something I always would write all these poems, these love poems that made their way in the first two books, and not only that, but it just made me feel better about myself. And then when no one was talking with me, then I would get my pen and paper and start writing. Or if I have friends, I show them what I've written, and they all encourage me. So it makes me feel good to know that's my identity as a writer. Um, and it's something I've loved to do. And the students that I work with at the schools I go to, they looked me up online. They found me through Goodreads. So now they know I'm an author. And they'll tell all the teachers at the school every time I stop by, hey, Mr. Chapman's an author. Mr. Chapman's an author. And of course, I get these looks from teachers. But the thing is that the students recognize me. So I'm glad that people know my identity as an author, and I want to keep going. Not only as the director of the Writers Workshop, but also when I used to run that book expo as an executive director. Anything literary, that's what my identity is. I'm glad to be there.
So, what have been some of your greatest challenges as an author and as someone in bookish spaces?
Well, one of the challenges is that you have the bigger names, right? I've been writing for a long time, and really the bigger names are just keep coming up. And that's the what I find that if you're not this name or that person or that actor, actress or whatever, then people are not going to recognize you or they're not going to recognize your work. And when I was running the book expo, I found that I'm not the only one with that problem. There's a whole lot of other authors who are talented, but they know how to get their works out there, and that's the reason why they go to the events that they do. I've done tons of events here in LA, from the Black Business Expo to the Black Writers on Tour, my own LA Black Book Expo, and also the Black Writers Festival. I've done plenty of these events, and I'm out. I've been out there, but I find that there's a whole lot of authors out there. There's a whole group of us, so it's really a numbers game. And if you can find that one book that could help you get over that. And not only get over that, but also people are read it and talk about it. Like I go to the Festival of Books every single year, and I see the lines of the tents. Not saying I'm looking for that, but just to see a fan base of people that love what I write, and not only that, just to know that they support the works that I do. So that's a challenge I have to face every single day.
And this isn't a question, but just a comment. I really appreciate and relate to because I'm from Detroit and I feel like I'm a one woman show or like I'm part of the crew that's like Detroit is a wonderful place. I'm all about Detroit and I feel like I appreciate you being all about your community and wanting to pump it up, not just your community of origin, but your chosen professional community. Like
Yeah.
yay, writers go. So I really relate to that. So I
Thank
just
you.
want to say that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's important, for me to represent South LA because I'm born and raised here, and you've heard the stories, I'm sure, growing up that South LA was really such a bad place, and also in movies and in music, it kind of keeps that negative image about our community going. In late 1980s, there would be these documentaries from the major networks. They come down here with their crews and they would talk to the residents, and then they come with these stories about South LA is so bad, and the gangs and the drugs and all this and that. And I said, I want to write something positive by the neighborhood because we got so much negativity then by the media that I want to just write something positive about the community and also not sugarcoat it, but also write about the effects of the violence in the community, which you will find in the bookstore of South Central. But I would say that, this reporter's backgrounds is to share everything that goes on in the community, the positive and negative, what the networks couldn't show and didn't want to show. I write that. So I'm very glad to represent South LA. Like I said, born and raised here, and just want to represent my community the best way I can by writing about it, writing the positive people that I've met and all the positive places, and not only that, but also writing about the issues that face us. And I feel very happy about that. I'm gonna continue to do that, and I'll just keep going.
Ayoka and I know in Detroit around the 80s, like, there was a whole like shift in the dynamics of the community and gun violence due to the crack cocaine epidemic. And I noticed in one of your poems, kind of I don't remember the name of it, but kind of like a shift or a conversation about the shift in the community. And it made me wonder if that happened around the same time on the West Coast as it did in the Midwest and the East Coast. It was there like around that time period in history? Do you know if there was a change?
Yeah, there was a change because I would say that, well, we all know that what 92 represented here in LA. In fact, I live down the street from the first fires that burned here, burned down a complete shop, store. But I would say that everyone from 92 has learned that it's better for us to work together. And even the gangs even recognize that. So they decide to, I think they call the truce, citywide truce. That's why you haven't had the violence that you had in the past, which is always a positive thing when brothers are always trying to make the community better. And I think the people that in general, LA is going through some changes right now because we have the Olympics in 3 years. So LA has always been changing. In fact, we have new people coming in. We have a development down the street from where I live that is going to be opening in a few months. And I will say that LA is changing. The people are changing, but still, the community that I live, we're still tight. We still respect each other, and it makes a stronger bond when you have people in one community, including our community, that makes that is really aiming for positivity and just making things happen. So I'm really glad to be part of this community and hope that it continues because it really needs that right now.
I don't know if Walter Mosley writes about the community that you're in, but in the Easy Rawlings series, it's set in California. And so that's kind of like been my formative impression of Black folks in California.
Yeah.
And I always found it to be positive. So I didn't have the same, like a lot of negative information about California.
Right. Mr. Mosley comes from a whole different background than myself. We live in the same neighborhood. In fact, most of us who live in this community, we have so many diverse backgrounds that our experiences may not be the same. He has more experience than I will ever have. So I'm not going to say his experience is wrong. His experience is his experience, and my experience is my experience. And I just hope that when people read my stories or my poems, that they understand I'm coming from one experience. And when they read Mr. Mosley's work, they know that it's coming from a different perspective. Even though we may go to the same places, we may have different ideas about where that place is. So I would, South LA is not monolithic in that it's a place that we have different perspectives. And even though the media sees it one way, those of us like Mr. Mosley and myself, we see it a different way. And all we can just do is share our experiences with the reader and hope that they understand where we're coming from.
I recently noticed that you are on Substack, so I wanted you to talk a little bit about what readers can expect from you on Substack. We have some listeners that are on that may want to follow you.
Okay. Well, my Substack is a version of my old blog, my old website, and I call it Thoughts on the Substack. Even on my new website now, I have Thoughts on a String. That I started that 20 years ago when blogs were very popular. It's about a collection of thoughts that I have about everyday events or just things in life that people need to talk about, or something that just comes into my head. I would talk about love, I talk about racism, I talk about all these different subjects that people need to read, especially about relationships. So I could just try to write about what I feel and think, and sometimes it resonates with people. They like what I've written.
What does writing while Black mean to you?
Writing while Black means writing about the experiences that we all have as Black people, whether it's positive, negative, talking about family reunions, talking about police brutality. It's all about our experience and sharing it on paper or on the screen. So that's what writing while Black means to me.
Thank you.
Ayoka, you're an only child too?
Yeah, yes. I'm my mother's only child. I grew up as an
I'm
only.
my mother's only
Yeah.
child too.
Now, I got some siblings.
I have a brother. So is there, like you said, only child nation? And I'm like, is there like some kind of like something that we do since we're only child nation? Because I want to know about it. I don't want to be left out.
Throw the sign up. Yeah, I actually find that only children, I mean, and this might be my bias, but it seems like we all seem to have a very rich imagination because you spend so much time alone, and usually are readers as well, because I mean, you play by yourself, but that can get old. But yeah, I find, and I don't know, I haven't done any, empirical research, but yeah, I'm gonna start asking folk, uh, asking only children, and asking writers if they're only children, because I feel like there are a lot of writers who are definitely uh readers. I find that people who kind of were always readers were only children. Charles, I want to give you an opportunity to talk about your latest novel. It's all about fate. Give us the elevator speech. Tell us where we can get it. We're listening.
It's All About Fate is a
What?
crime thriller, and it's available on Amazon right now. It's the only place that you can buy the novel. It is a crime thriller, and it is a story about a crime lord and his plan of revenge against the police detective who caused his facial disfigurement. Fate, he names, you'll find the reason why they call him Fate, but his face is badly burned, and he blames the police detective for that. Not only that, but he also blames for a personal loss that he suffered, and you'll find how deep that personal loss is. So he goes on his plan of revenge by striking at the police detective's family, and he strikes everyone he knows, from the gentleman he used to work for to the family members of this police detective, Mitchell Lavender, who's called the homeboy because he is from the area, so he knows everybody in the area, and he's pretty cool with everyone, even though he's a police detective. There's a big twist that happens, and it really affects, I would say, not only Fate, but Mitchell and the people around him. It also talks a little bit more about that evening that happened to Fate, who had his face burned off, and you can see the reason why he may think Mitchell was the one responsible. But again, twists and turns, and I hope people enjoy it. It's been out since March, and again, it's on Amazon, and hopefully in the future it will be available on my website. So I can say, if you like crime thrillers, you write a good mystery, please read this, and you'll find you won't be disappointed.
And don't forget to review it.
Yes, yes.
And I love the cover. Where did you buy the cover? Did you design the cover? Did you hire the design?
No, I have a good friend of mine who I've known for a long time. She is so great with the covers. She designed the sign. She designed the last three covers for my book. Fate,
Re
Strange Tales of Science Fiction, and Relay. Yeah,
Relay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like that
yeah.
cover. Uh-huh.
She does a great job, man. Uh, I want to just say her online name, because CC Monty is definitely my cover person now. My previous cover person for the Storm of South Central, unfortunately passed away. And he was good. He was a good guy. He did artwork for us for the expo, and I was in charge of that. But CC Montes, man, she's such a great artist and great cover designer. And she asked when the Storm of South Central was out, can I do your cover? But I always go to her, and man, she really
Is she a black artist?
she is.
Ah, okay.
High school friend of mine that I've known such a long time, and she's so good at what she does. So if she's watching this, CC Monty the one. So that's it.
Okay,
Yeah, I wouldn't put her.
we'll have to put some of her contact information in the notes for the episode.
She's a graphic designer. So y'all, I'll ask and see if she's going along with that. So help her get some more business. You know,
Every little bit
yeah.
makes a difference. But the cover, I Relay and what's the last one? The with the
Fate,
face on it,
Fate.
Fate,
Fate. Yeah, that it's a those covers are
yeah,
very like they make you wanna jump in.
yeah. She's good. She's really great. So. Yeah, that's my cover person and I'm gonna try to bother her for the next book I'm writing. Can I talk about the next book for a second? Okay.
Yes,
All right.
yes.
So the next book I'm working on right now is based on a short story that my cousin wrote for her high school creative writing class. And I like the story so much that I decided to expand on it. I don't know if it's a novel, it's a novella, I'm not sure yet, but I would say that the book is set in South LA, 1971. It's a young man named Junior. Junior lost his father during the Watts uprising. A gentleman named Ray is watching over him. But Ray is the kind of a person who does unscrupulous things. He does things that you don't want to be bothered with. And also that he has a friend who I call Mouse. Now these are characters that are not in my cousin's short story, but these are characters I created. So Junior also meets someone who he meets a young lady, and they have a good work relationship together. But at the same time, he's also caught up in what Ray is caught up in. And at the end of the story, I haven't gone that far yet, but I would say that the ending of my cousin's original story was that Junior doesn't make it, but I'm gonna write my version. But at the same time, I want to write about the community back in the 1970s, before the gang violence, before all of this happened, and the people and the places of that time, because I grew up going to those places, and I remember a little bit of where I used to go as a young man, especially in the neighborhood and especially around the neighborhood, what LA used to be like. And also give people a good idea of LA, how it changed over time, and the seeds of the gangs and everything like that. So that's what I'm working on, and I don't know when I'm going to finish it. I've something else I have to take care of, but I will say I'll try to get out before the end of the year. So we'll see what happens. The title of the book, the working title of the book right now is based on the old war song, "The World Is a Ghetto." So I'm going to try to get that out. You find more information on my website as I go along. So
We got a theme song for the episode, maybe. I don't know. Only work on one book at a time. You
yeah,
open it, work. Oh, okay. That's
yeah,
like how some people read. They only read one book at a time. They don't multitask.
yeah.
Okay.
That would
I
Are
be
you
me.
right?
because of my condition with the two strokes, I have to work slowly and make sure that I don't overdo myself. But I have many other works in the pipeline that I'm just trying to do one work at a time, and then work, just continue to keep writing and see what else is next for me. So that's how my thought process is.
I was going to say, when you were describing the world as a ghetto, that's what we're calling it right now. Your
Yeah,
work in progress. I was saying that, thinking that people love a morally gray character. So
yeah, yeah. Well, I would just say the way that I'm envisioning Ray right now, he's more Junior is the young man's being pulled in that direction. But Ray is definitely someone that you don't want to mess with, especially we're talking early 1970s. And you probably remember, you probably have people you recognize, you see these old gentlemen down the street. He's like, I wonder what they've done. I wonder what that cat did. And when I go into a novel or what, or it's a short story or anything like that, people will recognize Junior's push and pull between the two characters, Ray or Mouse. Because Mouse is the morally good person. He goes to church. He's a good person, and Ray is the guy that you don't want to mess with. He's a bad influence on Junior, so he's being pulled in both directions. And of course, you have the young lady who tries to get him in a new direction. So, like I said, this is all work in progress right now, but I think people will enjoy the story once it is done. So we'll see.
You talked a little bit about your process and how the strokes that you experience have impacted your process. Do you notice any other shift in yourself as a writer as a result of the strokes?
Um, Not with the strokes, but I would say that I have neighbors who consistently push me, and they may not know this, but I would say that I look at the work that they do, and that just pushes me as an author. It makes me want to go much harder and much deeper into my work and really get my name out there because they encourage me. And I feel that any author feels that you want to be the best and you're going to have to just continue to keep producing work, and not only that, but understand that people on the side of you, not behind you, on the side of you, who are going trying to do the same thing. So I would say that the strokes, they motivated me. They kind of, it was a sign for me to slow down a little bit with my life. Not only that, but just change my writing style to where it's just one page at a time. But again, the influences of people in my neighborhood, in my writing community, that encourage me to be at my best just by their presence, just by being there. It's not a really over competitive type of thing. It's just that that hey, they're doing the most to promoting their work, and I got to do the same by keep writing and promoting my work as well. So um, that's what I'm trying to do, and I think that's probably the best thing for me at this point in my life because I've written a long time, and I just feel that okay, what's the next challenge? What do I need to keep going? What is going to push me and motivate me to be at the place that I want to be? And so I look at the other authors who I'm very close with. We're all good people, but at the same time, like, okay, I got to keep pushing. I got to keep going because there's someone else right on the side of me, and they're just going for they're doing the same things that I'm doing. So that's how I look at it.
When we interviewed Eddie D. Williams, and he was talking about his writing process and that his wife is very involved with him bouncing things off of her. And I thought about, I'm married to a writer as well. And especially here recently, I've been very involved with his writing process. So I feel like we need to have like a group of writers married to writers or something like that. But I'm curious about your experience. Do you share your work with your wife? Or do you wait till everything's finished to share it with her? Or how is it being married to a writer? And vice versa, does she share with you or?
Yeah, she's a blogger now. She's also on Substack. Letters from the Quiet, I think is her recent um Letters from the Quiet is her recent blog entry on Substack. But she was my editor for Relay and Strange Tales of Science Fiction. And I can just tell you that she has a good eye about detail. She has a great eye about characters and how they fit in the story. So I trust her judgment more than I trust, anybody else as far as my editing my work. I can tell you that having her influence around encouraging my work, being my partner, not only in life but also in my writing community, in my writing life, it makes a big difference because you need someone who's been there from the very beginning to say, hey, you need to improve on this. You can do better with this character. This scene can use a little bit more work. She just edits, and I just follow her suggestions and I put them down. That's why the work is so good because she's editing. So I'm bragging a little bit, but she's just so good as a writer. And as far as what she's doing, again, she's had a life change, so she's not writing as much as anymore other than her blog. What I will say that we try to encourage each other the best we can because it's all about that partnership, as you know, with you and your spouse. And if your spouse is an author, like we met as authors, yeah, it's gonna make your writing so much better because she has your back. She's gonna make sure that your work is really good, really tight, and that everyone can read it. And you can just say, "Hey, it was because of her that my writing was really good." So I have to give all respect to her.
Okay. Are you and your wife both self-published?
Yes.
Okay. So earlier when you kind of talked about the expos and when you talked about the writing group, you were talking about some of the frustration that you can have by not being a big name and getting how do you get yourself out there so that people can find your work. And so I wanted to know about any strategies that you had come across personally or in observation that were particularly effective as marketing tools, as ways of getting our work out there as independent authors.
When I first met my wife, she was starting a podcast of herself. Podcasting or was just starting out. It was a new thing, and she was one of the first ones to start a podcast, and she did successfully for about 2 to 3 years, interviewing different people, talking to different, uh, going with different subjects, talking to different people, including myself. And I was interviewed twice by her, but she was very successful in what she did. She took advantage of that. She realized that the way to get her name out there was to just find something new like this platform and just to really promote yourself. And I really feel that for myself, it's helped me because now people know that I've done all these things from workshops to running the expo to writing my own material and all being a freelance writer for a community newspaper. People now know I've written so much and put my work out there for so long. So I would just say marketing is definitely with something like this. It helps because now people get to see you, they get to see your work, and also they when they go to your website, they have the interviews, the discussions, everything that's there on the website under the media page of things I've done. So it helps to market yourself, and having a spouse that helps you with that is definitely a plus.
Do you have a newsletter?
I do. I
Do
do.
you do it monthly, just when the mood strikes you? Is it a big list? I know I'm throwing a lot of questions
That's
at you at
okay.
once,
That's
but
fine.
talk newsletter.
I have a newsletter and I send it every month to people that are on my subscribers list. And if you want to subscribe, you gotta do scroll down the front page of my website and you can add your name or your emails and you can find out what's going on with me, the projects of my works, things I have to talk about. I might talk about all these different things that are going on with me as far as the progress of my next book, um, things I might have done in the past. I might share a news article or two, but I would just say that it's a way for me to connect with the fans, and I really enjoy newsletters so much. I didn't have them on my first website. It makes a big difference to have people knowing what's going on. They get the news before social media does, hopefully.
Is there anything that you wanted to share that we didn't ask you about?
Let me see. Like I said, I was a freelance writer for the California Crusader newspaper. Um, I would say 2018 after my father passed. I needed an outlet, and they reached out to me and said, "Hey, you want to write articles?" And I did. Everything I've written that's been published is on my website, so you can just check out what I've done. You can on the website. I will say you can also check out video, my interviews, past interviews. Probably this one will be posted one day on the website, and I would say that my thoughts on the string, my blog is also there. Lots of things about me that you want to know are on the website. So I would say that that's charleslchatmon.com. You can look up that website and just find out who I am, what I'm about, what I like to write, things like that.
Thank you. Oh, yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for being our guest. It was very nice meeting you because of course, the audience may not know, but my husband and you have a relationship. So
Yeah.
I hear your name and hear about you, but this is my first time actually having an interaction with you. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for being our guest, and it's lovely getting a chance to meet you.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure be on the show. And I know you two ladies you do so much good work with all the authors that you've interviewed. So please continue to do that because you do so much good work. So thank you so much for
Thank
inviting me.
you.
So
That's very sweet.
Yes, thank you for that.
yeah.
All right. So do we have a symbol for the Only Child Nation?
We may work on it. You never know.
Okay, so if anybody come up with the logo, I wanna be a part of it.
Copyright. I got the copyright.
I got my pen out because once we get finished, I hope everybody is gonna go and write. But I want to invite you guys to join me. Get your pens out for our sign off. So
Oh, okay.
Okay.
right on, right
Right
on.
on.
Peace. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
It's gonna catch on. It's gonna catch on.
Reading, learning, thriving, creating, while building, living, thinking, healing, loving, building, writing, while black, black, black.